Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really plunging into some fascinating, maybe even surprising information that you've shared with us. Our mission today really is to unpack these claims that try to reveal hidden causes behind common illnesses. And some of these ideas, well, they really challenge conventional medical thinking. So, yeah, get ready to maybe have your perspective shaken up a little.
Absolutely. And to give you the best possible view, we've gathered a really unique mix of sources for this deep dive. We're navigating everything from uh, academic research on electromagnetic fields, which is quite technical, to a very unconventional book claiming, well, universal cures for pretty much everything, and even a piece looking at what actually counts as scientific evidence. It's going to be critical, yes, but definitely informative.
Okay, so let's just jump right in then. We're starting with this foundational idea you find in some theories, that illnesses come from specific energetic imbalances, or maybe even unseen invaders in the body. And it's not exactly a new idea. One source actually takes us way back, 600 BC. It notes observations by Tales of Miletus about matter interacting with non-uniform electric fields. Then you fast forward to the early 20th century, and you get these ideas about cell membranes maybe acting like tiny electrical circuits.
Yeah, and what's fascinating is how these concepts sort of build on each other. I mean, our bodies are full of electrolytes, fluids, so living things are naturally pretty good electrical conductors.
Makes sense.
We have these ionic currents flowing across cell membranes through our body fluids all the time. And this leads to the concept of a transmembrane potential, or TMP. Think of it like a tiny electrical charge, maybe 10 to 100 millivolts.
Yeah.
It's basically an indicator of how healthy and active a cell is.
Okay, like a vital sign for the cell.
Exactly. A key indicator of well-being at the cellular level.
All right, now stepping into some really unconventional territory here, one of our main sources brings up this device called the synchrometer. Its inventor says it's based on radioelectronic principles, and it claims it can detect things like pathogens, pollutants, right in the body. How? By listening for resonance.
Resonance.
Yeah, the claim is that the human body actually broadcasts electrically over a really wide frequency band, apparently. It's almost like, your body's its own little radio transmitter, always putting out signals.
And the synchrometer's supposed capabilities are, well, they're quite specific, according to the source. It's said to detect certain viruses, like HIV protein 24 antigen, or even the whole HIV virus, which one source rather surprisingly claims can be found in snails.
Snails, okay.
Yes, it also supposedly finds bacteria like Salmonella, Shigella, and toxins, mercury, aluminum, thallium. And it claims to find these in all sorts of tissues or fluids. Brain, saliva, urine, white blood cells, even at really low concentrations.
Oh, wow.
The instructions apparently even suggest using like salt solutions as a test to practice hearing this resonance.
Right, to tune your ear to it, so to speak.
Pretty much.
Okay, so moving from detection to actually doing something about it. Another concept comes up, the zapper.
Right, the zapper.
This is described as a handheld device that supposedly kills pathogens. The idea seems simple enough. You apply an alternating electrical voltage, but it has to be within the organism's specific bandwidth, its signature frequency. The idea is that this injures it, kind of like finding that exact musical note that shatters a glass, maybe, but for germs.
That's a good analogy. And the claims about its effectiveness are quite bold. It's stated that small organisms, viruses, bacteria, parasites, can be, quote, extinguished in just 3 minutes. At 5 volts.
3 minutes.
Yep. And there's this idea of positively offset frequencies, too, said to kill a whole range of small organisms in 7 minutes. What's more, one source claims a zapper built way back in 1994 could kill multiple different pathogens all at once.
Simultaneously.
Now, just to bring in a different perspective, there's a scientific study we looked at on Toxoplasma gondii, a parasite. It found that extremely low-frequency pulsed electromagnetic fields, or PEMF, at 75 hertz, significantly reduced the number of these parasites in mice.
Okay, so PEMF showed an effect.
Yes, but interestingly, continuous electromagnetic fields, CEMF, at a different frequency, 50 hertz, didn't show a statistically significant reduction.
So the type of field matters, pulsed versus continuous.
Seems so. And crucially, neither type of EMF actually affected the lifespan of the infected mice.
Right, so it reduced parasite numbers, but didn't make the mice live longer.
Exactly. And there was a similar finding mentioned about EMF decreasing a type of parasite in birds as well.
So this really raises the question, doesn't it? How do we evaluate these very different approaches? And, the importance of scientific rigor comes into play here.
It absolutely does. And this brings us to that other source we have, the one on pseudotherapies and pseudosciences. It makes a very clear point. For any scientific hypothesis to be considered valid, it has to be tested. Tested by a, quote, regulated and empirical method that's free from biases and fallacies.
Right, needs to be objective.
Exactly. It stresses reproducibility, getting objective evidence, and it specifically says that in healthcare, you need the highest possible amount of evidence before you accept a belief as scientifically validated.
Which is a really important framework to keep in mind as we dig deeper into these claims.
Definitely.
Okay, so now let's dive into what one of our main sources claims are the true causes of all diseases.
Right. This is a big claim.
It argues that every single illness has simple explanations and cures once you know these real culprits, which it identifies as a combination of parasites and pollutants.
Yeah.
It's quite something, trying to unify this huge range of different illnesses under just two main causes. It's proposing a pretty fundamental shift in how we think about disease.
It really is.
Yeah.
And this source goes into remarkable detail about specific parasites. For instance, it claims that certain flukes, like the human intestinal fluke Fasciolopsis busci,
Okay.
are found in literally every case of cancer, HIV, Alzheimer's, Crohn's, Kaposi sarcoma, endometriosis.
Mhm.
The list goes on.
Every case. That's a sweeping statement.
Very sweeping. And its reproduction in the liver is supposedly linked to hundreds of cancer types. Then there's another fluke, the pancreatic fluke, Erythrema pancreaticum, said to be in the pancreas of all diabetics.
All diabetics. Wow.
It also points fingers at various roundworms, ascaris, hookworms, strongyloids, trichinella, linking them to things like depression and migraines. Strongyloids specifically is called the main brain parasite for migraines and manic depression.
In the brain.
Yep. It suggests these worms can travel all over, brain, muscles, joints, especially if your immunity is lowered by toxins. Bacteria get mentioned too. Staphylococcus aureus from teeth infections linked to heart conditions. Salmonella and Shigella, possibly from non-sterile dairy, linked to stomach pain, ear infections. Even viruses like Epstein-Barr are linked back to flukes. Adenovirus causing colds, linked to mites in tapeworm stages. And a big emphasis is put on the problem of reinfection from pets, from not washing hands well enough, the oral fecal route for parasites and bacteria.
It paints a really comprehensive, though maybe alarming, picture of how these tiny organisms are supposedly involved in major health issues. Now, shifting to that second true cause, this source highlights pollutants. What does it say there?
Yeah, pollutants. This is presented as another huge category, very pervasive. Solvents are a big one. Benzene, which the source says can be in flavored foods, personal products, bottled water, even cold cereal and gum.
Everyday stuff.
Right, and it links benzene specifically to HIV affecting the thymus. Then protyl alcohol, used for sterilization in food and drinks, is linked to cancer and liver damage.
Liver damage.
Yeah, and the source explains how these solvents can basically gum up the works in your liver, prevent it from detoxifying properly.
Like a traffic jam for toxins.
Exactly. Creating this sort of vicious cycle where the liver can't clear things out, and that environment lets parasites thrive.
Okay, I see the connection they're drawing.
Heavy metals are another major focus,
Yeah.
especially dental metal. Amalgam fillings, crowns, implants, highlighted as big sources of mercury, thallium, gold, nickel, titanium, etc.
Dental work.
Yes, and there's a striking claim that all wheelchair patients tested were positive for thallium, which historically was used as rat poison.
Thallium. Okay.
Cadmium and lead from old water pipes get mentioned, various metals in personal care products, even arsenic in carpets, tungsten from electric water heaters or toasters. It's everywhere, according to this.
Wow, it feels overwhelming.
And then there are mycotoxins from molds. These are described as highly toxic. Things like aflatoxin, found in bread, nuts, fruit, beer, cider vinegar, said to block detoxification pathways. Zearalenone from popcorn, corn chips, brown rice, linked to estrogen issues. Ergot from grains, wines, LSD-like effects, cytocalicin B from pasta. Supposedly stops cell division. Kojic acid from potatoes, coffee. Hinders detox. The main takeaway is moldy food lowers immunity, pollutants create a toxic burden, and parasites take advantage.
So, faced with all this, I mean, if you're listening and experiencing symptoms, you might be thinking, okay, what now? How does this source propose actually fixing this huge interconnected web of problems?
Right. Well, the source lays out a pretty detailed multi-step approach for healing. It's presented as absolutely crucial. First, there's the electronic killing again, using the zapper and another device called a frequency generator to target parasites, bacteria, viruses.
Okay, the electrical approach.
Then an herbal parasite program,
Hmm?
specifically mentioning black walnut whole tincture, wormwood, and cloves, classic anti-parasitic herbs in some traditions.
Right.
Then there are cleanses for internal organs. A kidney cleanse using herbs like hydrangea, gravel root, marshmallow root. The goal is to dissolve kidney crystals, oxalate, uric acid, phosphate, and just improve overall elimination.
Makes sense. Improve the filters.
Exactly. And then the liver cleanse. This is called the most powerful procedure for improving health. Claims it clears gallstones, improves digestion, allergies, upper body pain. But, importantly, you're supposed to kill the parasites first.
Ah, okay. Sequence matters.
Very much so, according to this. A really critical step is the dental cleanup. It recommends removing all dental metal, fillings, crowns, implants, everything, and replacing it with plastic composites.
Remove all metal. That's significant.
It is. And the source claims patients often report symptoms just vanishing after the metal is out.
Hmm.
Then there's environmental cleanup. Getting rid of air pollutants like freon, asbestos, fiberglass, formaldehyde, arsenic, radon, even fragrances. Avoiding certain personal products, plastics, even types of furniture. It's quite extensive.
A whole lifestyle overhaul, almost.
Pretty much. And finally, very strict dietary changes. Avoiding anything potentially moldy, store bread in plastic bags, crackers, dried fruits, certain nuts. Boiling all dairy milk, butter, cream to sterilize against salmonella and shigella.
Rolling dairy.
Avoiding bottled water because of potential solvent traces. Basically choosing home-cooked, unpolluted food. Vitamin C is also highlighted for detoxing molds.
And these cleanup strategies, they're directly linked back to specific conditions mentioned earlier.
Yes, absolutely. For pain relief, it connects cleaning up parasites and pollutants to easing all sorts of pain. Toe pain linked to uric acid, bacteria, kidney function. Joint pain, arthritis linked to bacteria, worms, deposits. Leg pain to thallium and worms. Hip pain to bacteria. Abdominal pain to parasites, bacteria, issues with dairy.
So a root cause approach to pain, in their view.
Precisely. And for non-painful conditions too. Diabetes linked back to that pancreatic fluke and wood alcohol. Herpes outbreaks tied to low immunity with specific frequencies suggested for zapping. Alzheimer's connected to a specific fluke, xylene, toluene, and aluminum. Depression to brainworms and chlorine exposure. Even signs of aging are presented as potentially reversible by removing toxins.
It's a remarkably holistic, if unconventional framework. It certainly makes you think differently about chronic conditions.
The advice even gets down to some really unusual daily habits, like you're told to drink tap water over bottled water, use borax, just plain old borax as your all-purpose cleaner and soap,
Borax for everything.
apparently. Avoid metal jewelry. Even be careful about certain types of toothpicks or cotton swabs if they have metals or chemicals. So yeah, if your cleaning cupboard looks anything like mine, this source suggests you might just need one box of borax.
Okay, now here's where it gets particularly noteworthy. The source makes some really strong claims about safety, even during pregnancy.
Yes, that part.
It actually asserts that electronically killing parasites using a frequency generator is safe during pregnancy. But a zapper should not be used.
Interesting distinction there.
Yeah. And herbal methods, deemed not enough safeguard, recommending waiting until after birth if possible, because the baby is continuously exposed.
Right, the ongoing exposure issue.
There is even a specific warning about trying to conceive while undergoing dental mercury removal.
It's crucial to circle back here and stress the need for critical thinking. While the source offers these incredibly strong assertions of cure and detailed safety advice, even for pregnancy, it also explicitly states in its own text that its treatments are not intended to be a replacement or substitute for other forms of conventional medical treatment.
That's a very important disclaimer.
Absolutely vital for anyone encountering these ideas to keep in mind.
Okay. Let's try and unpack all of this then. We've really journeyed through a fascinating, maybe bewildering landscape of health claims today. From, specific scientific findings on EMF and parasites, which have some basis in research, all the way to this incredibly intricate system for identifying and eliminating supposed hidden causes of disease, using electronic devices, herbs, massive cleanup protocols.
Yeah.
The common thread seems to be this belief that very complex illnesses might have surprisingly simple, sometimes technologically driven root causes and solutions.
And this deep dive really highlights how some perspectives are proposing a complete paradigm shift, really, in understanding illness. They emphasize this deep interconnectedness of our diet, our environment, and all the unseen microbial life within us and around us.
Right.
It's a viewpoint that definitely challenges a lot of our everyday assumptions about sickness and health.
So the big question for you listening is, what does all this mean? It kind of leaves us with this compelling question, doesn't it? In a
Yeah.
world just flooded with information, so many different health philosophies, how do you figure out what truly contributes to your own well-being?
Yeah, that really raises the crucial point. When you're faced with such conflicting claims about health, about healing, I mean, how do you navigate that path? How do you get to a place where you feel well-informed and actually empowered about your own body and your choices?
Yeah,
It's tough. It's about finding clarity amidst all the noise, isn't it?
it really is. And maybe a final provocative thought for you to consider, something that really stood out from one of the sources. It notes that, quote, none of us can remember how things were in pre-civilized times. We are eager to believe the present is the best time that has ever been. And it concludes, perhaps the price we pay for civilization is simply too high. There must be other ways. What if? What if this whole quest for health is also partly a journey to understand what we might have lost? Or maybe what we never fully grasped about our bodies and our connection to the environment around us? Something to think about.